headbutting,
Marco Materazzi.
Marco Materazzi, the Matrix, as we called him, in the World Cup final against Italy in
Said,
2006.
I would rather have your sister.
Yeah, there you go. But he has had a fairly good coaching career, even if it's been a little low key so far. Wes, I know things haven't gone quite according to plan for Real Madrid. They lost on the weekend to was it Valencia or Villarreal? I believe it was Valencia. I believe it was Valencia, and I believe it was one Roberto Soldado who scored the lone goal of the match to beat Real Madrid. That's right, Tottenham. That's right, Tottenham fans. It wasn't all bad this weekend. Roberto Soldado beat Real Madrid by himself. But I mean, what would you think of Madrid basically throwing out Benitez after, I don't know, like 5 months?
Well, I mean, it kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier. You can't fire the team, so you might as well go to the manager. Um, to me, Rafa Benitez obviously holds a special place in my Liverpool footballing heart. Of course, led us to the Champions League in 2005. Many Liverpool fans feel was unjustly let go when he was by Mr. Hicks and Mr. Gillette, henceforth the names that shall not be mentioned ever again, for trying to destroy my beloved football club.
Of course.
He was a very, very, very popular figure on Merseyside, still is. But, even recently his name has come up in Liverpool due to the fact he was mentioned in the Steven Gerrard autobiography. And Gerrard pretty much puts it out there. He said, I didn't really like the guy.
Oh.
He said, obviously I had my finest professional moment with him. He taught me a lot. Now, here's the thing. Gerrard did not sit there and bury him as a manager. He said, the guy taught me a lot.
Right.
I learned, he made me a much better footballer. Just personally, I didn't, me and him, we did not get along personally. We were not friends. Benitez has a very, what's the word I'm looking for? He has a very prickly personality.
Acerbic. Might have been the word.
Acerbic. We'll go with that. Acerbic. And he's very demanding. He is not a people person at all. He can be extremely sarcastic. And the thing is, he's not cute when he doesn't like Josie is. Josie's much more subtle with his digs. Yes. Josie is much funnier with his digs. Benitez just kind of comes across as a real asshole. And, when you have a team full of some of the highest paid, most talented, ass-kissed prima donnas in the world, which is pretty much Real Madrid's roster, someone being sarcastic and talking shit to them does not really fit into their agenda well.
Right.
If we've said that Josie's losing the locker room in Chelsea, I think Benitez lost the locker room pretty quickly in Real. It was a dream job for him. When it goes down, Rafa Benitez will go down as coaching some of the biggest teams in the world when his coaching career is over. Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Chelsea. He's managed them all. But there's a thing. There's a but. I just don't believe that he fits in right now with what Real Madrid are doing, what they want to do. He is a much more conservative coach. He does not play an open style of football. When Liverpool won the Champions League, when we were at one point the number one ranked team in Europe, it was because we were so good defensively. And then we had just some guys who can naturally score the ball in Gerrard and Torres. And we had the maestro pulling the strings in Xabi Alonso. But we were extremely, extremely well put together from the back. We played very good defense. We were very pragmatic. Pragmatism is used as kind of a bad word.
Yes.
It's not always, but you look at Louis Van Gaal at United. I mean, they're sitting, I believe, second or third in the league right now. Don't ask me about the
Fourth.
table.
It's fourth.
Okay. Well, they've been all the way up to second. They've been in first, and people are throwing a fit because they're not playing, quote, United football.
Mhm.
He is a much more pragmatic coach. He's not one to just grip, rip. Let's go score 4 goals every game, and that's how Benitez is. But unfortunately, you're at a place at Real Madrid where you have the most expensive attacking talent in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You have Ronaldo on one wing, Bale on the other wing, and you're playing James out of position because you've only got 2 wingers. So, trying to grind out 1-0 and 2-1 victories, that doesn't exactly fly at Real Madrid.
No, it does not. So we will see if Zidane, if he is tapped to be the next manager, if Rafa does get the sack, if he will produce a better brand of football. And finally, real quick here, our last news and note, as you mentioned, Guardiola may be going to the Premier League very soon. It looks like he has made his decision to leave Bayern Munich at the end of the season. Manchester City, Manchester United, and Chelsea all seem to be looking in his direction. But Wes, what we know right now are starting to hear as well is that former Real Madrid man, this thing's kind of starting to be like a carousel. It looks like Carlo Ancelotti looks like he may be tapped to replace Guardiola at Munich. Obviously these two have been at some of the biggest clubs of the world themselves, and it looks like Ancelotti, who should never be out of football for very long, still did great things in Madrid even up to the moment he was sacked last season. And I think maybe they're regretting that decision a little bit. Could potentially do great things at Bayern Munich.
Well, I mean, it would be a perfect situation for him. He would walk right into an absolutely loaded team. When after Brendan Rodgers was fired, we talked a little bit at Liverpool. His name was one that came up, but a lot of people felt this wasn't the right kind of job for Ancelotti, because Ancelotti likes veterans.
Right.
He likes, we call them veterans, whatever you call them in Europe. He likes guys who are seasoned, who are playing at the top of their game, and he doesn't have to deal with the young players. Apparently, from what we hear, he doesn't deal overly well with the young players.
No.
That would work pretty well into what Bayern is right now, which is an extremely established team with established players, guys who understand their role. Obviously, one thing to look at, bringing in a new manager at all, you're going to see some turnover in players. It'll be interesting to see who hits the market from Bayern Munich. Apparently, every English team in the world wants Thomas Muller, and we've all been linked with him this season. Liverpool, United, Chelsea, City, everybody's been linked with Muller this year. I don't think Thomas Muller is going anywhere. But there are guys who were brought in to play for Pep. Thiago being one of them, who, you bring in Ancelotti, that might be a guy along with some others who could be on the way out the door. And then you would expect Ancelotti, obviously, to bring in some of his own guys at that point as well. So it would be an interesting hire. He is an extremely accomplished manager. He's won everywhere he's gone. The one drawback to Ancelotti is they always say he's not great in the league, but he's amazing in Europe. I mean, you're fucking Bayern Munich. Yeah. You can't really screw that league up.
Yeah.
I mean, there's usually maybe one other team to give you a run, and by run we mean end up 11 points behind you at the end of the season.
Yep.
So, it would be a good hire for him, because I think right now, even with Guardiola, I think they're a little frustrated in Munich due to their European performances.
So that is going to do it for our football talk for this week. We are now, because we are running really long right now, we're going to do 3 minutes on our
Star Wars.
Oh yeah, as we literally drop the mic, just like Abby Wambach did in her final match just minutes ago for the United States women's national team. You will be missed, Abby. But let's talk about another female athlete and our other big story of the week. Wes, as I mentioned to you in our rundown, this story is basically that the internet lost their collective shit because Serena Williams had a better year than a horse, according to Sports Illustrated. If you haven't heard yet, Serena Williams was named Sports Illustrated's Athlete of the Year. She was on the cover. As someone joked, and I don't remember who, it might have been Stephen Colbert. She looked like she was posing as Beyonce on Game of Thrones. But still, she had a great season. 3 out of the 4 major tournaments went to her this year in tennis. It was a dominating presence. Came very close to actually doing the Grand Slam this season. But many people thought, Wes, that American Pharoah, the Triple Crown winner, should have been named Athlete of the Year, despite the fact that I don't believe a horse or any non-human has ever actually won the award from Sports Illustrated. So I will give you 3 minutes to sound off however you like.
Well, one horribly awesome tweet I saw said, "Are we sure that's not American Pharoah's tail on Serena Williams' head?"
Aww.
Yeah, that was bad. To me, it doesn't. I don't really give a rip either way. I mean, I think it would have been kind of cool to see the horse up there. If for no other reason, just because American Pharoah did something that has never happened in your or my lifetime. Mm-hmm. That was a first for us to get to see a Triple Crown winner. Mm-hmm. Serena, for as great as Serena Williams was, I mean, as dominant as she was, I guess it would have been a whole hell of a lot cooler if she had won the Grand Slam. Mm-hmm. So, but I mean, she did. She had an amazing year. She's by far the best women's tennis player in the world. To me, I don't even know how much competition she actually has anymore because she's so much more physically dominant than anyone else out there.
Well, I think that plays a role in it. And my only question would be, if you had to take a human from this year, who would you pick over her?
God, you're putting me on a spot because I don't think of things like that. You know me, I'm very focused on just the sports that I like.
Yes. But I was trying to think the other day. I thought,
Jordan Spieth. I'm not saying I'd take him over her. I'm saying I think Jordan Spieth could be in the conversation.
I didn't even come up with that name. Yeah.
Well, and even though, one thing with him, I think something about being the sportsman of the year, sportswoman or sports person, whatever PC word we're using now. I've always thought that it is more of a, putting together a good portfolio over time. Mm-hmm. So for Spieth, this might have been the year that he starts his portfolio, and he could be a future winner of it, maybe. But I could see that off.
I will then on that point. One of the biggest names I kind of came up with was Steph Curry.
That's exactly what was about to come out of my mouth was Steph Curry.
And that's really, and I think more it's because of how hot Golden State started. Oh, by the way, they actually lost a game while you were gone.
I heard about that because it actually happened on Sunday, so close enough to being back in my time.
So that was something. That's really the only other person I came up with that you could say 2015 was sort of their year. I mean, nobody really in hockey really stood out to the extent where it would break national media recognizance. Major League Baseball, as good as Bryce Harper was, I don't think he would have moved the needle that much on that. So I think you're right. It would have come down to Spieth, Curry, and Williams. And I think
you could actually, if you wanted to throw Carly Lloyd in there, you could have gone that way.
The only issue with Carly Lloyd, and I know the counter argument to this is that they actually did put the 99 women's whole team up on and named them the Athlete of the Year one time. I think her performance was just so concentrated, and that's I think what worked against her. She had basically I mean,